Hello, my name is Tony King. I'm out walking in the woods today, and I'm going to be trying to practice some photography with sun rays and looking for details and hopefully talking a little bit about what I'm doing and making an interesting video that way. If you enjoy this video at any point, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more content, and let's just get right into it. I've got about 15 feet worth of trail here, and I'm going to be getting all these images from, so that will just go to show how much photography exists in such a small space if you use the light, how it's being given to you, especially natural light like sunlight like I'm trying to work on today. There's photographs everywhere, so keep that in mind whenever you're walking around with your camera. Just work with the light that you're given. So I've been photographing these little branches, these little sticks, kind of that are being lit by a little ray of sunlight. What I'm doing is I'm lowering my aperture and raising my shutter speed so that kind of the background is all dark in that shadow, so that all you see is these branches. Then I'm moving around and trying to kind of fill the empty space. Sometimes I'm trying to create something that goes across the entire frame. Other times I'm trying to use layers in terms of like whatever's in focus, keeping something slightly out of focus but still lit in the kind of the empty space, and trying to create some interesting compositions that way. Hopefully you enjoy those images. They're fun to try and capture. You'll see some images have color and light in the background. That's because I'm finding a detail that still has sun in the background. The ones that have the really dark background I'm shooting kind of diagonally against the sun ray. So what's lit, that little branch, that little detail, the background is in shadow, and I could really use that to isolate that subject. But it's also nice to get nice bokeh, nice shallow depth of field when you have something that's completely lit, but you're focusing on what's close to camera. One pretty obvious and important aspect of getting photos like this when you're walking around is just changing your perspective. So squatting, raising your camera, looking up and down, diagonal, different angles at all times. And that way you can create more interesting and more diverse compositions. And so that would be another major thing to practice in these scenarios. And if you have the chance, sometimes when you're pointing straight at the sun, you can get some nice lens flares depending on how your lens reacts to the sun. So I'm going to try to get some of that too. We'll see. When you're shooting plants and details like this, something very small, I think it really ups the opportunity for interesting composition because it's very easy to get other things in the way, especially with branches and leaves and things like that. They're all around and they're very small, so you don't really need something very major in the way because you're focused on something so small anyway that it takes something small to become something bigger in the frame. If that makes sense. Probably worst way possible of wording that, but I think that makes sense. So, sometimes you're like, well, I can't just get the one leaf or the one pine cone in the frame or the one branch how I want it. Well, that's an opportunity to work with layering and work with shallow depth of field and kind of work with some messy frames sometimes, and you can still create an interesting image. I certainly think so, and at least to my taste. So that is definitely an advantage of shooting this way, shooting really small details in the woods. It's very valuable for photography. So hopefully that's another lesson that you can take from shooting this way. I've been Tony King. Thank you for watching this video. It's probably pretty short, but hopefully a little interesting and you enjoyed the images and learned something, or at least get some insight into my process. If you did enjoy this video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I make a lot of videos about photography, so if you enjoyed this one, you'll probably like the next one. I guess I realize I'm looking at myself and not at the camera. Okay, well, that's a little awkward. Well, hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you around in the next one.